Oh. Grab Zukov. Get back time. There we go. Ugh. Ugh. Hella in recovery mode tonight. Or today. Ugh. Not recovery mode of ideas, but recovery mode of buying. Ugh. What's up, Zooks? You want that? There you go. Oh. Man, yesterday I ended up being like hella fucking sick. Yeah, but at least recovering today. Oh, come on. Can I, like, picking this up? I guess not. There we go. Goofy thing. Ah. Good old coffee. Alright, bud. There we go. Alright, pull up a little bit of tunage. Just for a little bit. Bro. Oh my god. Silly ass dog. Silly little thing. There we go. Alright, now get a bowl loaded. Talk of the day for NC and recovery mode from the awful Supreme Court ruling. That's not why I'm recovery mode. I was like sick as fuck yesterday. So I'm kind of getting better from that. So what the fuck's going on with the Supreme Court? Because I have no idea what the hell's going on with that. I've been kind of out of the loop the past, 2 days. Is there really that much fucking hair? Jesus. real presidents have immunity from prosecution for official acts, whatever that means. Official acts? So basically the Richard Nixon tactic. When the president does it, it's not illegal. Just that, basically. When the president does it, it's not illegal. The Supreme Court is basically going back to, like, Nixon-era excuses of, like, what is or isn't illegal for a president to ought to be doing. Why am I not shocked? And also, why am I not surprised that, like, every single one of these Supreme Court rulings in the last, like, 4 or 5 days has been utter trash and 6-3 every time? It's like you have 3 Supreme Justices that are at least maybe, like, kind of worth a fuck. And then, like, literally the rest of them just, like, are there purposely just to be, you know, puppets for the Federalist Society and for the fucking APAC. It's just like, I mean, what the fuck do you expect? It's just like, I mean, you know, you have a rogue fucking element of our government. And frankly, they need to be shut the fuck down, like, and disbanded as far as I care. Outside of the 3 that are in there, like Sotomayor and whoever the fuck else. And, like, fucking, what's her name? Ketanji Jackson. Like, out of, like, all of them, like, they can stay, but fuck the rest of them. You know, like, send them into a padded room for the rest of their fucking lives. And then, you know, have, like, you know, I don't know. 9 others that, you know, are, like, fucking voted on or something. Like, make it so it's, like, a vote-based kind of system. Like, why does our government get to just anoint, like, an entire fucking, you know, institution, like, that seems to have, like, a bigger voice or, like, a higher authority than anybody else in the fucking land, including the president, supposedly? I guess, like, it's bullshit. It's a democratic institution. Well, that's what I'm saying. Either, like, make it a democratic institution or, you know, or fucking, like, disband it. Like, and I'd rather it either be disbanded or, you know, overall. But if we're going to keep it, then make it so, like, there's federal elections for the Supreme Court, like, every 2 years or something. And for every fucking seat. Introducing it. Dude, where the fuck you been, Venom? I've been trying to hit you up for, like, days now. Did you just censorship me again? No? Well, I don't know. I don't know what else you've said outside of, yeah, as an anarcho-girlfriend. Where the fuck you been? Like, I'm getting late. Well, I've been hitting you up, and, like, you can't say, like, oh, I'm, you know, I'm doing this or whatever. Saying what's up, blah, blah. Totally forgot about the punk show yesterday, Rip. Oh, was there a punk show yesterday? Well, it wouldn't matter for me. I was sick as a dog. So. At least at least I'm better now. But still. Yeah, Vince can't be like, hey, what's up? Doing this. What you doing? Yeah, I'll end up turning which Norse pagan girl syndicalist. Cool. So, wait, some Norse pagan witch girl? Are you getting into, like, witch stuff? Jennifer as well. Is this that one, like, furry chick you were talking about the other day? Or, like, 5 days ago, or whenever that was? Like I said, I was out of loop over a little bit the weekend, so. Yes. Ah. What is What is this cough right now? Brr. He's been a boofball. Like, honestly, like, all night and all morning. It's been low-key kind of driving me nuts. Especially when I'm not in, like, you know, in my usual self right now. Ooh, blah, blah. Boom, get some bud grounded up. Going to Albuquerque on the 11th. Going to Albuquerque, huh? Can't spell that town. Well, you almost had it. You got the last part of it, I think. Here, I could just zoom my way over there. Let's see. Well, you almost had it. Like, I know the last little bit of it is, well, it goes ALBUQUERQUE. Which, geez, what a name. Oh, Santa Fe is that close to Albuquerque? Really? I didn't realize Santa Fe and Albuquerque were, like, that close to each other. They're, like, right next to each other. She subbed to your channel the other day. Cool. I don't know if she was in there when I was doing my karaoke streaming, but that's probably where, she might have seen me. Which, honestly, at least for Saturday, that was actually kind of a cool night, because the bartender, like, was like, you know what, don't worry about the tab tonight, I gotcha. I was just like, what? Wait, really? She was like, yeah. I was like, you know what, well, I was going to give you a 20 tip anyway, so, you know what? Now I feel like I want to give you 30. She's like, oh, well, don't worry about it. So, starting to become such a known quantity there that, like, my tabs are getting paid for even by the bartender. It's like, shit, alright. Either that or somebody might have paid my tab or something. Because she says, don't worry about it, it's taken care of. Like, so I don't know if that was the bar maybe that did it, or somebody else took care of it. Because I have a feeling that, there might have been somebody else that might have paid for that tab. Because it's not like it doesn't happen. But usually I, will normally get like, hey, I'll buy you a drink. Kind of thing. Because last week it was like that. So much so, like, I couldn't even get to everybody. I was like, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, I'll buy you a drink. What you want? And then I'll be like, oh, yeah, I just want this. And, and they'll be like, all right, well, let me know when you want it. And then my friend Tyler actually accidentally knocked one of my, a drink over that night, so he bought me one. So I was like, all right, well, now I have that. And then somebody else that night bought me a drink. So I ended up just closing out and being like, people are just buying me drinks. I don't think I need to pay for drinks tonight. So, because I don't even know, what was that night like? At least 4, including a shot, I think. And then, after that, pretty much chill, and then went to Loud and Lit on Friday, so I didn't go to the bar that night. And then on Saturday, it was pretty dead as hell. Yeah, they've been smothered. By what, daddies? Deal with this fucking month. Hold on, dog. Jesus, what the fuck is your deal? You loud annoyance? Ooh. It's because that's now, bish. It's because of just like different shit going on outside, so he's barking at that. Not much I can do about it. So, ugh. Also, there must have been some cleaning going on here the other night, because it's like a smell of chemicals. I'm just like, ugh. It's not making me feel nice. Blah, 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 blah. Ooh, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what's happening for news today. And what can I catch myself up with? I got a best girlfriend I care about a lot. That's good, at least. It's good shit. So honestly, not gonna lie, I was kind of worried for a little bit because I haven't heard from you in days. I was just like, okay, after the other like bullshit that happened, I was just like, okay, why is he not saying much? Dog! Zukov, what the fuck is your deal, man? Yeah, you. Freaking goof. What the fuck is this deal? Did you have did you just have a seizure? What? Fortnite call. What? You good there, bud? You good there, mate? I swear if my dog starts going off again, I'm not going to be happy. Doggo. Zukov. Have you chilled out yet? Have you chilled out there, you goofball dog? Looks like Kyle's got some good old deliciousness uploaded. I don't even ask that whole fucking thing about the immunity bullshit. Because when the president does it, obviously it's not illegal. And our rogue fucking shitbag, fucking Supreme Court, it's just fundamentally just like it might as well be its own miniature government that just kind of comes in out of nowhere. That just fuck the gub, we're the gub now. See how it will just make decisions arbitrarily. Hey, Zukov, shut up, bro. Come here. Dude. Would you knock it off? Fucking mutt. What a mutt. So what is this thumbnail? So what is Kyle wearing? What is he wearing here? And why does he look so oversaturated? Oh my goodness. Kyle, you fucking lesbian, you. You look so saturated, and oh my god, why? Is he wearing a tank top? Is he going wife beater status? Oh my god.
Alright guys, we're here to talk more about the immunity thing. So I recorded a show today.
With his Oakleys.
I covered the immunity thing. I think I was using was it an NBC article or CNBC article? Anyway, so the story came out 3 minutes before I came on air, and then I just added it at the very last second. And so I went through the article. My understanding was that the Supreme Court is saying Trump has immunity for official acts, but for unofficial acts, he does not, right? That was my layman's understanding of it. So when I read that, I guess it wasn't that surprising to me because, presidential immunity is sort of like a cornerstone of being president, in the sense that certainly while you are president, they can't bring criminal charges against you if you do something as part of your official duties. They basically say that you need impeachment and conviction. That's the only path really to deal with president, even if they're doing things that are super questionable as part of their official duties.
Yeah.
So I guess I wasn't too surprised by that, for them saying, look, even in retrospect, you have immunity for official acts. But reading through what people were saying on Twitter afterwards, I thought everybody seemed to think the decision was more wide-ranging than it was. That people seem to be under the impression that for both official and unofficial acts, he would have immunity, and that wasn't what I got from it. And in fact, my interpretation was there's no reason that they're kicking this back to the lower courts, and there's no reason that they can't say what Trump did with the election subversion. It was an unofficial act, and it's also a crime, right? That wasn't part of your duties as president. It's an unofficial act, and that's also a crime. So I guess my interpretation of it was almost more of a middle ground than what other people were interpreting it as.
Well,
if that's what it means, then isn't it wouldn't this, this ruling wouldn't really necessarily be as, incorrect then maybe? Because it's basically just saying I guess, presidents technically already have a sense of an immunity. So it's just enforcing that. Because there are plenty of acts that aren't official to what a president does that can still be considered, potentially criminal. An insurrection, for example, because there's nothing about presidential duties that says that, when it comes to, allowing an election to continue to move through and stuff. And when it comes to transition of power. So, I guess that this means that Trump isn't really off the hook, but I think it kind of gives him more of a wiggle room to essentially try to defend himself as official presidential business or some shit. I don't know.
It depends very much on how the courts rule what constitutes an official act and what doesn't constitute an official act. So, looking at a SCOTUS blog article that lays some of this out, and the other thing that's very troubling in terms of how those things are likely to be adjudicated is they did give some guidance in here about the specific things Trump did. And some of those things they said, no, this is an official act. In particular, using the Department of Justice to pressure states to put forward alternate slates of electors. So let me read you a little bit of this, because they almost make three categories. There's the core functions of the presidency, for which they say a president has absolute immunity. Then they say this absolute immunity doesn't extend to the president's other official acts. In those cases, though, according to John Roberts, who wrote the majority opinion, the president cannot be charged unless, at the very least, prosecutors can show that bringing such charges would not threaten the power and functioning of the executive branch. And there's no immunity for a president's unofficial acts. Now he goes on to say it can be difficult to determine which are official and which are unofficial. He emphasized.
No, I think that at least kind of, gives a little bit of clearance that, or at least a clarity that, something like Jan 6, would not be seen as an official act and can still be held, criminal liability.
The immunity the court recognizes.
That's why I think I'm kind of at least getting
of what constitutes a president's official responsibility. So the Supreme Court is taking a sort of maximalist view of what an official act would actually be, covering actions so long as they are not manifestly or palpably beyond his authority. In addition, in conducting that review of whether it's an official or an unofficial act, courts cannot consider the president's motives, nor can they designate an act as unofficial simply because it allegedly violates the law. So that language makes it very broad and also limits the tools for interpreting what is an official versus unofficial act that lower courts can use. Turning to some of the specific allegations against Trump, the majority ruled Trump cannot be prosecuted for his alleged efforts to leverage the Justice Department's power and authority to convince states to replace their legitimate electors with Trump's fraudulent slates of electors. So they say that's off the table. With regard to the allegation that Trump attempted to pressure Mike Pence in his role as president of the Senate to reject the state's electoral votes, they deemed Trump presumptively immune from prosecution on the theory that the president and vice president are acting officially when they discuss their official responsibilities. Now, they didn't make that absolute, but they hinted strongly in the direction of he should have presumptive immunity there. The court did the same with regards to this presumptive immunity for the allegations in the indictment regarding Trump's interactions with private individuals and state officials, attempting to convince them to change electoral votes in his favor.
Starting to see where the weasel words of this bullshit, end up basically just being that bullshit. I'm starting to see that a little bit because, and I guess, the whole, idea that, maybe it isn't really as bad as just, bunk. Because, it's pretty much used in this weasel word, phrasing to essentially say that, well, when Trump was, in the office talking with people, they were, it was official business, even if maybe what was going on wasn't official or something. It's just weasel word shit.
As well as Trump's tweets leading up to January 6th attacks and his speech on the ellipse that day. Making this determination, Roberts wrote, will require, quote, a close analysis of the indictment's extensive and interrelated allegations, but put their thumb on the scale in favor of there would be a presumption of immunity that prosecutors would have to be able to overcome. So it looks pretty bad.
So if Joe Biden were to go and arrest Trump right now, put him behind bars, and say, I'm doing this as part of my official duties for the presidency because he's a threat to democracy, trying to overturn the last election.
He's a terrorist.
Yes. By the logic of this court, wouldn't they would have to say, okay, well, it's an official act. It's not a crime that he's committing because he declared it an official act and he did it.
True. If it's basically all it takes for, president to have an official act as president to be immune from is just saying that it's official, then fuck it. If Joe wants to go Dark Brandon mode or something, I think this will be kind of, a way to do it. Just say fuck it and just be like, all right, well, I'm arresting you, Jack. Fuck you.
Right? So I guess what I'm getting at here is I would imagine what they would actually say in that scenario is that is not an official act, that is an unofficial act, and you're also committing a crime, right? But if that logic stands up in that hypothetical scenario, I don't know why you still can't find in this scenario aspects of what Trump did that a court could say these are unofficial acts and they also constitute a crime. Now, I also think
because they would be. So like, and this whole weasel word, like abuse of the whole definitions of what is official and unofficial acts as president, just is basically a way to minimize any potential liability towards Trump, when it came to him being president. Like, this really is what this is just fucking about. Like, because, this whole court is, just propped up by the Federalist Society and the Republican Party. It's just a way to fucking, co-opt, the judicial system of our, government, which is also already an anti-democratic, system as it is, an institution anyway. So it's just, that's just what it's about. It's like the Federalist Society, co-opting the judicial system so they can use, proper verbiage lingo and abuse it to, pretty much, get away with whatever weird fucking actions that they do, but also use it against, their enemies in the sense of like, someone like Biden. Oh, because it doesn't matter even if he says it's official, that's all unofficial criminal acts, for someone like Biden or the Democrats. But for someone like Republican, though, well, official business.
Like, let's say the
when the president does it, it's not illegal.
Or does that, for argument's sake.
I feel like that's just really what it comes down to. It's just like that old Nixon quote.
It will just go back to the Supreme Court, and they'll have to rule more specifically on the merits of the Jack Smith case. You know what I'm saying? Where it won't just be a broad ruling about how do you get immunity, what constitutes immunity, etc. It'll also be like, no, we're gonna take on the facts of this case directly and determine whether or not there's a crime.
Yes.
So is that how do you think it's going to unfold? Do you think it's going to unfold like that, where if it gets thrown back to the lower courts still have things where they could say this is an unofficial act and it's also a crime.
Yeah.
He could be found guilty on that, and then it could be moved up again to the Supreme Court, and then they'll have to rule more specifically. Is that how you think this timeline will unfold, or do you think that this decision hampers the lower courts so much that effectively the case crumbles and you can't even get a guilty conviction at the lower court in the Jack Smith case? I'm very curious how you think it'll unfold.
I don't know, because I don't, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know like the technicalities, the order with which things have to unfold. If I had to guess, then even just this question that has been kicked back to the lower courts of, okay, well, which sort through it for us, which are official and unofficial, that's going to be appealed. And that, I think, will probably, in the same way that Trump's claim of immunity here had to be dealt with at the Supreme Court before that case could move forward, I believe this question of specifically with regards to Trump, which are official and unofficial acts, is going to probably have to go to the Supreme Court before this case can be resolved. Should also note obviously Justice Thomas concurred with the majority, but he wrote his own piece dissenting from a part of their opinion in which he questioned even the constitutionality of the appointment of Jack Smith. You also had Amy Coney Barrett with an interesting, so she also agreed with the majority, but she had a different take on how she defined official acts more narrowly than how Roberts and the majority defined them. So you had that in there, and then Justice Sotomayor is the one who wrote the dissent, one of the dissents in any way, which, like Ketanji Brown Jackson, they say, did not use the traditional respectfully. She contended Monday's ruling reshapes the institution of the presidency, whether described as presumptive or absolute. She wrote, under the majority's rule, a president's use of any official power for any purpose, even the most corrupt, is immune from prosecution. That's just as bad as it sounds, and it is baseless with fear for our democracy, she concluded. I dissent. So she's obviously, and others, very deeply troubled by what this could mean, because at least...
Man, during this entire time, I could have easily stacked the fuck out of this court, but has not done shit about it. And now we just have all this bullshit to deal with. You gotta love it. You gotta love that shit. It's like, oh yeah, I could easily go Dark Brandon mode and, make it all Jove or son, but nah, I'm just gonna be a daughter, fuck, that, barely knows where he's at, fucking floundering around like a goddamn gooper of a fish, on a fucking debate stage. What a fucking embarrassment, dude. The idea that, like, oh, well, it's like, Trump's just that much worse. Like, at this rate, is it starting to really matter? Like, when it comes down to the fact that, like, Trump is pretty much, like, honestly, right now, it just kind of feels like, Trump is pretty much, still president for all intents and purposes. Because a lot of these very, right-wing, decisions, especially with the Supreme Court, it's just kind of giving me a sense of whiplash, before, the campaigns are already over, it's just like, just fucking annoying and really aggravating. I know libs are probably on like hardcore coat mode about this, being like, well, this is why we obviously need to get Biden through. And it's like, you could have stacked the court, you could have just said fuck it, but no, it's just kind of letting them do whatever they want, being a rogue institution ran by the fucking Federalist Society, so. Yeah, they get the fuck laid down. Yeah, whatever little things are going on here. Melts down at tense exchange. Oh my god. What?
All right, guys. So Morning Joe, to this point, has been the
Is he in his bathroom?
absolute
Where is
biggest cheerleaders for Joe Biden. I don't think anybody would deny that. I mean, apparently Biden and Joe Scarborough talk on the phone on a regular basis. It has become the conventional wisdom hub on TV. And it's basically just the most aggressive Biden defense network of all the shows out there. So
I do know that, like, right after the debate that Biden had, that even Scarborough's like, wow, that was bad. And look, I love you, but I love you, Joe, but man, that wasn't it. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I think even he was like murmuring about, potentially like a step down kind of situation.
After the debate, obviously they're put in quite a position, aren't they? Because it's like they're used to defending Biden at every turn, but now they're in a position where they have to be honest and sort of say that was a really, really bad performance. And so it's like, how do they thread that needle? Well, they got into a really tense back and forth. It looks like there's trouble in paradise with Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough. They got into a really tense back and forth about this. Let's watch and we'll break it down.
Unfortunately, last night, President Biden let every fastball hanging out over the plate go right by for a strike for Donald Trump.
So
that was an indication
again,
that he was just not up to it last night.
Okay. Hold on a second. That I agree with everything you said, except for the last part of it. Everybody calm down, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's fine to not spin what happened last night, and we're not going to. Again,
by the way,
he had
Mika,
a terrible night.
Mika, everybody's calm here.
No.
You're the
Yeah. I know. Oh my god, dude, what the fuck, Joe? Shit. Oh my god. She's like, whoa, everyone calm the fuck down, after like a very calm analysis from an old man. And she's just like, well, hold on, I disagree with everything you just said, but let's all just calm down here really quick. And then Joe just like butts in, doesn't even wait for her to finish, just like, Mika, shut up, hey, we're all calm here. Oh my god. Okay, that's funny. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, that is actually kind of funny.
everyone raising your voice.
No.
Everybody is calm here.
Bro,
everyone is calm. Oh my god. Dude, even Kyle's just like, yo, where'd that come from?
Joe and Mika are like the only people in the media that you could argue have a similar thing going to me and Crystal, right? Like, we're both media figures and commentators, and, we do a show together and all those things.
Are you implying that they got a thing going on? Because you're married to Crystal Ball, bro. Are you saying something here?
And if I ever said to Joe Scarborough, if I ever said to Crystal what Joe Scarborough just said to Mika, the way he said it there, my ass would be sleeping on the couch, homie. Did you hear what he said and how he said that? By the way, calm down. Everybody's calm here. The only one raising their voice is you. Oh. Joe Scarborough just feels like a colossal asshole, doesn't he? All right, let's keep going.
Let's just immediately pull this. Let's end this. Let's find someone else.
That's not what Mike said.
That attitude toward this is what I am saying slow down on. Because, again, There's no.
We need to hold the course and just vote for Biden anyway, even though we all kind of agree that he's a jumbling fucking mess. Anyway, everyone calm down! Dude, she honestly is very, like, you know, like, she's kind of the more, like, emotional one, I think, you know, when it comes to this shit, because she's always, like, you know, the one that tends to be a little hyperbolic and over-dramatic about a lot of shit. Like, she really is, like, the over-dramatic one. There's a lot of, like, highlights, you know, between her and Joe of her being the one that's having a freak out or a conniption fit or melting down or being emotional or not calming down, all this shit. Like, she is the one that tends to be the over-dramatic one, you know, when it comes to this stuff. So it's so rich of her to say, everyone calm down, when you're the one, like, off and on for your existence as a media, like, journalist person, whatever the fuck you are. It's like, you've always been doing that. Like, not all the time, constantly. It's not like every day, but, like, there are highlights of your ass doing that shit. Like, all the time with different things and with different topics and shit. Some of it kind of funny, and some of it just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be a professional? Like, cause this shit ain't. Like, you know, I kind of get where Kyle's coming with it with Joe, though, but you know what, though? I mean, that little clapback was funny. So, like, I'm just gonna gram that. I'm just gonna let Joe take it. And yes, I'm sure he is an asshole, but, you know, kind of need a little bit of an asshole vibe to just, like, can we, like, quit being overdramatic?
It, but let's be balanced. Let's, for once, show some balance in a media world that is so shrill with imbalance that we've become...
Oh my fucking god, this is so rich coming from her.
...ignored to the difference between these two candidates. So let's put it this way. Gene Robinson, I'll go to you.
Well, wait. I just have to stop you. First of all, we always show balance.
We are, yeah.
Secondly, nobody's panicking.
Mm.
I said
Wrong.
these were questions
No,
of
wrong.
Democrats and Joe Biden.
What do you mean, What do you mean,
Secondly, nobody's panicking.
Mm.
I mean, at least on the show here, yeah, no one is. But, like, when it comes to, like, the internal Democratic circles and shit, yeah, they are. I mean, I guess that's where Mika's right. She's like, people panicking or not panicking? Really? It's like, no, there's definitely some DNC showbags that are panicking. And not exactly, you know, being calm. But, I mean, the idea of, like, you know, Mika being like, well, meh. Everyone's just being hysterical, even those who are calm, is just hilarious. Like, especially here. Like, no one here is panicking, really outside of her, for all intents and
I
purposes.
said these were questions that Democrats and Joe Biden needed to ask themselves. And Mike said he missed one pitch down the middle after another and wasn't up to it last night.
Right, okay.
He said
wasn't up to it last night.
He said last night. So I will say that
They're having a total crisis over there. They're in full panic and meltdown mode.
it's not panic. I mean, it's not being panicked. To understand what's at stake at this election and understand.
It's eternalized panicking. At least, you know, in a weird way, I think Mika's willing to be somewhat honest about it. But she's just being like, well, we have to continue the cars bullshit. He's trying to, like, you know, being like, look, that was bad and blah, blah, blah. We'll acknowledge it. And, you know, we're just going to kind of be a little hands off about it until we can kind of figure out a proper way to go about this. Like, I mean, Mika just wants to be like, no, just stay the course, fuck it. But he's, I think, you know, been more willing to, like, be like, all right, well, let's take a step back for a second. Because this is, like, they're definitely, I mean, both of them are panicking, honestly, for sure. One of them's just being more overdramatic, or at least more open about it.
And the window is closing very quickly. And if Joe Biden is not up to doing this, and if last night did not reveal that to you and other Democrats, then it needs to be revealed pretty soon.
All right, so let's talk about this.
And that's Joe implying that maybe Biden needs to step down. See, he's willing to take a step back and be like, well, look, if Biden really isn't up for it, then someone else needs to take the mantle. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, I mean, you know, and even Mika has to acknowledge that he ain't wrong. That's why she didn't even say shit to it. She's like, eh. Because, you know, she doesn't want to also have it, like, you know, be some overdramatic fight session between the two. But, I mean, it's just like, I I find it a little funny, like this weird back and forth, that they're, that these Democratic loyalists and Biden loyalists are having with this shit. I just find it a little silly. As, I mean, they can't just admit to themselves that, staying this fucking course is going to, literally just, fucking give a red carpet entrance for Trump again. And instead of, maybe, putting somebody up as like a Hail Mary last second, black horse, to come in out of nowhere, type of situation, which unironically I think would be way fucking better than what's going on now. I think literally shaking the whole fucking, political nomination system up, where instead of Biden, Democrats, put somebody else up. I honestly think that would literally be way better. Like, honestly, there might be a short-term, like, what the fuck kind of thing, but, and a lot of infighting, probably a lot of, schism and shit, but I think in the long run, it'd be better. Because we're already starting to see the seeds of that planted. Like, Biden wanted this shit to be done early. Like, his campaign were the ones who wanted this to be done early to, try to, gain a sense of confidence, but it literally backfired right in their fucking face. And it's like, and now they're panicking, realizing at least some of them having to admit to themselves, like, we gotta change the course. And but there's still a large portion of them that are like, no, we stayed the course. Like, we shat in the bed and might as well stick with it, even though there is a chance to fucking change the bed sheets. You still have an opportunity for that.
Joe Scarborough is totally chicken shit with what he's saying here. And by the way, you have to go watch the original. There's like a longer clip of their whole reaction to the debate. And Joe Scarborough very clearly is panicking. He's very clearly in meltdown mode. He's very clearly saying it might be the right move to replace Joe Biden. He's not up for this. It looks like he's not up for this. So don't say all those things or imply all of those things. And then when Mika comes out there and points out, like, this is what you're doing, be like, no, we didn't do that. But you did. But you did do that.
Well, I mean, he's a fucking two-faced, like, wishy-washy fuck, okay? Like, I mean, Kyle, that's just kind of how he is. Like, I don't really expect him to just, say, full gloves off, say, fuck it, replace him. Like, I mean, he's a, big media pundit, and also has, like, the eye and ear of Joe, too, like, of Biden as well. Like, he has to kind of play the cards right, with that a little bit. So, I mean, I'm willing to kind of give him a little bit of leeway on that. I mean, because he's at least being more honest about, that whole broader conversation anyway. So it's like, I mean, it ain't just like, oh, well, we need to stay the course, and that was actually fine, or whatever. No, like, it was a fucking ridiculous thing, and, like, and even Joe at least has to admit that to a certain extent, even if it is just applying it. And doing this weird, like, and doing a weird, like, tightrope walk that he's doing. He is a liberal centrist, after all.
Should be somebody else. So if you're going to say those things, then own up to it. Now, that's where Mika is correct, but Mika is also wrong in the sense that she's implying it's wrong for people to react like that. No, that is the only logical reaction, people. That is the only logical reaction. Because here's the thing. People talk about whether or not Biden can win at this point in time. That's what people are talking about, and understandably so. But very few people are going that next step and saying, can he govern for another 4 years?
Nope.
Guys, if I'm being super kind, I'm saying maximum he's got 2 years left. The reality is he might not even make it to election day. Right? So who are we?
Dude, that probably is likely what, is the case. He probably won't make it.
In this scenario. By the way, it matters. This matters. Why? Because I'm now convinced that one of the reasons why Netanyahu is doing everything he's doing and not caring at all about a pushback from the United States of America is because Biden is fundamentally weak in the state that he's in. You can slap him around. You can push him around. He can't keep up with what you're doing. He doesn't have the...
Honestly, I bet that really does play a strong role in it. I'm willing to fucking bet that is probably why AIPAC has been able to run amok. Israel's being able to just go full rogue because... why, because, why not take the opportunity when you're, puppet master of a government, can barely even function within its own self, let alone control you?
To respond in a proper fashion. What does Netanyahu see? Netanyahu sees all those same video clips we do from the 1990s and the early 2000s of Joe Biden talking about how much he's a Zionist and how much he loves Israel and all these clips about he's truly ideological in his fervor in favor of Israel. He knows that's Joe Biden, and he also knows now Joe Biden ain't home mentally. So Joe Biden doesn't have the cognitive ability to recognize and understand when Netanyahu is making a fool of him and humiliating him on the world stage. Biden does not realize when he says, don't go into Rafah, it's a red line, and then Netanyahu goes into Rafah. Joe Biden doesn't even remember he just said that going into Rafah was a red line, and he's not willing to act on it because he wants to, hey, let me just smooth it over until election day, just try to get by and get through this. He's not willing to take a stand and say, you know what, I'm going to break up the U.S. relationship with Israel and not send them any more money and weapons, which is the correct reaction, but he doesn't have a clean break like that in him because he's old and feeble and coasting off the momentum of the previous years back when his brain did work.
Before he was even fucking president. You know, like, I mean, it is fucking wild that Democrats are willing to just, like, you know, suck up to the son of a bitch so much. You know, for me, all I, you know, could do is just kind of be like, told you so. Because, I mean, yeah, told you so. Like, this has been, you know, my major complaint about this shit, you know, about Biden since day fucking one. Like, even during 2020, it's like, we really expect this geriatrical fuck. And that was back when he at least was able to still mushy mouth, you know, at least still have some thoughts. Like, I mean, the 2020 debates versus the one that just happened earlier last week, fucking night and day difference. I mean, it's still bad, but, I mean, at least there is, like, a sense of him being kind of there a little bit. Like, it's fucking insane. And it's just like, I'm supposed to, like, you know, have some sort of, like, initiative to, like, you know, root for that. Or, like, you know, be, you know, like, you know, at least, you know, enthusiastic about the electoral process. Like, fuck that.
Now he's not home. He's not there.
Fucking fly.
So it actually matters. Because normally I would say, look, as long as you have the right policies, if you're a really old, feeble man, is it really going to bother me that much if at the end of the day you're trying to get people universal health care, you're trying to wipe out medical debt, you're trying to raise wages, you're trying to end the wars? I would say, look, you got to overlook these things because at this point it's just optics, and who really cares?
Dude, I saw a video of fucking Jimmy Carter from like a week ago, and he's in his fucking 90s, and he's more cognitively aware, and with it, dead fucking Biden is. Like, I swear to God. You know what? He only served for a term, right? You know what? Fuck it. Bring him in there. You know, if we're going to have geriatric old presidents, then get Carter back in there. Yeah, he might not last a full term, but fuck it. At least, you know, he would govern at least okay. Wouldn't be that terrible.
Optic at the end of the day.
He mostly got fucked over by Reagan anyway, so it's just like a lot of, you know, the faults of his, you know, presidency was mostly due to, like, you know, internal sabotaging because Reagan wanted to, you know, take all the credit for things like Iran-Contra and shit.
Policy is correct. But here we have, it's not just optics with Biden. It's not. It's also substantive. And so Mika's wrong in saying, like, everybody calm down. No, nobody should calm down. Everybody should be more panicked. I'm at the point, and I'm sure many of you agree with this, I will literally take Kamala Harris over Joe Biden. Her brain works. Yeah, she says goofy things. You know, you didn't fall out of a coconut tree and be unburdened by the past. What's the one she says about being unburdened? I'm blanking on it right now, but there was a video clip of her saying it like 70 different times where she's like, we need to care about the future unburdened by what has been or something like that, right? Like, yeah, she says goofy things. Yeah, she's got a weird laugh, like all those things, but her brain works. It's there. It's functioning. That's the bar now. That's where we're...
I mean, I would question if her brain is working because I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some tell-all thing about like Kamala Harris with her staffers or something where she is like a, you know, alcoholic cocktail fiend or something, dude. Like, you know, like having some cocktails, you know, popping a few Xannies or something with like, you know, or with like a martini. Like, I mean, she just strikes me as like kind of being slurish and being like, because I've seen a few things of her recently too, and her reaction to the whole debate, she's on something or on a few things. She is like, she was slurring. Like, I honestly thought, it's like, is she drunk? And honestly, might be. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, I take fucking Hillary Clinton over Joe Biden because her brain...
Oh, God. That might be an exception for me, dog. I'm sorry, Kyle. I don't know if I agree with that out.
Works, even though she's wrong about virtually everything. She's basically the same as Joe Biden, except her brain works better. right? Why would you not prefer that? Like, this is where we're at right now, and Mika's like, everybody calm down. Why? Why would you calm down? If there was ever a time to not be calm, it's now. If you truly believe Trump is an existential threat, and I do. So anyway, there you have it. Trouble in paradise, man. And you're seeing a lot of this, a lot of tense exchanges over the predicament that Democrats are currently in. All right, guys, that's the.
Well, maybe they ought to have not supported a fucking old fuckwit that, you know, basically stabbed Bernie in the back twice. Well, at least once in 2020, then Hillary, you know, in 2016, but still. If only Democrats actually maybe listen to lefties and progressives about, like, you know, hey, what American people actually fucking want, and listen to their electorate and shit, then maybe, I don't know, like, we'd be in a better position. But, nah. Like, we would literally be coasting on, like, a second-term presidency of Bernie if it wasn't for fucking Hillary, dude. Like, dead ass. We'll be like, all right, you know, who's going to be the next weird Republican jack-off versus, like, you know, the next Democrat, which might be, like, somebody that, you know, Bernie endorses, you know, and blah, blah, blah. You know, so, that would be a way better situation. Even with, you know, shit like October 7th. It's like, because honestly, I don't even think that would have fucking happened. You know, I bet if, like, in that alt-universe world where it's like Bernie won in 2016, I bet October 7th wouldn't be a fucking thing. Because let's say, even if it was being planned out, because the Israeli government was aware that this attack was going to probably be commenced, you know, at least a week or so in advance, I bet, like, you know, Bernie's government would be like, look, protect your people. They need to be saved. We will help you organize a way to stop this and, you know, find the specific people organizing this and stuff. And blah, blah, blah. You know, because, you know, I mean, because even Israeli intelligence knew about it, but, you know, we're willing to let it slide. But, and could have prevented it. But because of, you know, the geriatric mummy that is fucking Biden, I mean, why not take advantage of something like that and, you know, like, and take advantage of a weak puppet master? Why not? Because then they could push a lot of your own fucking agenda real quick, you know, things like that. It's almost about 3, so let's get myself to work here pretty soon. All that stuff. And take advantage that I can snack and nibble on a bunch of food at work. But anyway, well, let's call it good for now. Then come back later after work and all that fun shit. At least depending on how I'm feeling. So, at least for now, peace out and see y'all next one.